All right, hey, how you doing? Um, so I've been offline for a little while. I spent several weeks trying to find a way to improve my streaming quality so that I could stream some games that were a little bit higher in requirements for, having decent frame rate without the stream suffering. The issue I was having before, if you weren't watching, was that while I was playing the game, I had no problems, but the stream, both recorded and live, that was extremely jumpy and jittery. Nothing I changed about the stream quality made a difference. Changing game settings didn't seem to matter either. The only thing I can think of is that I had some issues with the older processor that I'm still using at this point until next week. Um, and that was what was causing the problem. So like I said, I spent about 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks trying to find and implement different methods of dual box streaming where my laptop over there was actually streaming everything and I was playing my game on my system here. Got several different methods set up and partially functional for everything but game streaming. I couldn't get any game to stream. I was able to stream video files. I was able to stream my browser over to the other system. I was able to stream in reverse, except the laptop's not powerful enough to play any of those games anyway. But anytime I initiated a game, the stream just either wouldn't load at all, or you would only get the first frame and you would get audio. But the first frame would stay on the screen the entire time. Um, so a lot of frustration there. Also, Ashes of Creations Alpha has started, the one that I'm in. I haven't gotten my "You're ready to play" invite email yet. So since I didn't sign up for Kickstarter until mm, maybe like 3 days before it ended, four, at the end of May last year. And so about 28 days in, I'm not actually expecting mine probably until the end of next week at the earliest, this coming week at the earliest. My understanding is, at least for this week, there is a video NDA and screenshot NDA. I'm in the Discord channel over there, and they're actually just talking about it. That I believe that somebody said that screenshots will be lifted from NDA next week. I don't know about video yet, so I won't even be able to stream the game yet. But you can see over my shoulder, over my shoulder, I have some new hardware in. It's not all here yet. I've got a couple parts coming in. Actually, something might be on my doorstep right now. It doesn't say anything was delivered. I was supposed to get at least one thing today. Checking shipping statuses. So anyway, I should have some hardware sitting on my doorstep or in the mailbox. I don't think it would have fit in the mailbox. What went today? Got a couple more things coming in this coming week. Actually, you know what? I don't think it's today. I think tomorrow, even though tomorrow's Sunday. I don't know when you're going to get to see this, but tomorrow for me is Sunday. Yeah, I've got some two things coming in tomorrow. One's for my case, my computer that I'm building. The other one's not. And my new CPU should be here Monday, possibly Sunday. It says could arrive by Sunday. And also, unfortunately, I'm waiting on my power supply, which is not supposed to be here until Wednesday at the earliest. So even once I get everything and have it all assembled, I won't be able to power the machine on without cannibalizing more out of my current system until Wednesday at the earliest, most likely not until Friday or Saturday. So this coming week, I probably won't be streaming any gameplay again. I am going to record and then upload the videos for the PC build. I'm not, I want to live stream it. I don't think that my setup is really where it needs to be able to do that. I'm going to set up a table here in the room. Oh, I don't know if you've watched my stream before, you may notice I'm not in the same place I normally am. I've relocated my desk and everything. That took me another couple of days where I really only have 2 days that I can definitely dedicate for streaming. Um, I spent 2 of them rearranging everything and getting my desk and my gaming setup, my streaming configuration, everything moved to a different part of the house. So everything is moved, rearranged. I'm going to set up a table in here and do the build on it and see if I can get the camera to aim at a good angle from above where you can see what I'm doing inside the case. I normally do my builds with the case laying on its side. I just find it easier not having to reach up under for things or have to constantly flip the case over while I'm putting parts in. There's a couple of things that I want to get for the build that aren't necessarily tools, basically. I was trying to think of a good word for that, but tools covers it. And some other miscellaneous, places to put stuff. Uh, I haven't built a case in a few years. Okay, so like 2012, 2014 time frame. Um, and so most of the things that I used when I did cases, I don't have anymore. I used to actually build computers and sell them. Nothing special, nothing that you would see like if you went to a trade show or some of the YouTube videos that are out there. But functional devices, um, low end spec, um, small business servers, 1 or 2 gaming machines, just some whatever anybody really needed. But for people that knew me and didn't have the ability to build their own computer, but was able to price check and such, and discover that the price difference at the time at least was viable for them not to buy something somebody else built. I mean, to buy something that I built versus a vendor like Alienware or Dell. That way they could get things that were more suited to what they wanted, even if it was my choice on what those components were. Looking at the Discord channel for Ashes, there's a good bit going on, but it doesn't look like it's anything relevant that I need to mention. I do have a few things I want to show. I've got actually my last 3 case builds for personal use, marked out, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get them onto the screen, but I'm working on that. Was going to take some screenshots and save them and then put them up as a window over top of me. You may also notice this is the first time that I've done a video with me full screen and not itty bitty teeny tiny in the corner. Oh, nope, that way. Reverse camera thing gets me every time. So let me see if I can get this build up. I'm going to go with a screenshot and then view the image. Save it. Where would I save it? Here. Original. And let's see if I can get that up here. We'll throw an image up. Create new. See, I don't want to do a static. See if I can do a window capture, although that window's not showing what I'm talking about right now. So something that I did recently, I went ahead and got a VPN and I started using it. Oh, also one of the problems with moving my setup into this room, I feel short. This should allow me to dynamically show images. One of the problems anyway that I had with moving the setup into this room was that I no longer have wired Ethernet to my computer. Let's see where I've got it up. It's right here. You're not going to display. You can't see me. Yeah, you can't see me right now. Let me make it like that big first. Anything from that executable. I'm not sure why this isn't displaying. Oh, let me get it open there. Save. Edit. Am I doing the wrong one? Nope. I don't know why that's not showing up. Well, that sucks. Because that was actually really good. I was going to use the Windows Preview photo thing. It's just called Photos now in Windows 10. And that way I could scroll through the images and change them on the screen while you were looking at it. But apparently that doesn't seem to function. All right, let me remove it. Let's do that again. Display. I guess I could full screen it. Then window capture. Yeah, see, appreciated text. No. Image slideshow. Display even when not visible now. Walls are not visible. Manual slideshow. There we go. Do that. Done. That's gonna mean. Oops. I have to add the image files individually. No, directory. Okay. Getting there. So actually I have a lot of things I want to talk about. This is kind of slowing down, but I've also been sitting here now for 7 hours getting set up to do the stream. And I got tired of sitting here for 7 hours, basically feeling like I hadn't accomplished anything, although I've done a lot. Select that folder. Hey, we have an image. I have no idea if you can read that. I'm going to make it bigger. You don't need to see me anyway. Right on my face. Make sure you can see the hat. We're going to kick the crap out of the Cowboys on Sunday. I don't really follow football too much. I like some college teams and 2 or 3 NFL teams. But for the most part, I could give to, well, you know, I don't care much. Let me add another directory here so I can talk about those other things I wanted to talk about. In here, in there. Oop, not there. Where did I put you? I'm thinking that I have no friggin' clue where I put these pictures. Right, come here, mouse. It's gonna to. Where are you? I lost my pictures. File info. That'll tell me where it is since I have the picture open already. Oh, that didn't even work. Oh. Can I even show you that? That's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't even think I can do that. Wait, what? That's our drive. Oh. Here. That's kind of nifty. Actually, I should move that folder. It's not in the right place. There we go. All right, so anyway, looking on the screen there, you've got, that was my original, I guess you could call it a gaming computer. If you haven't had time to read it already, why did it move down? What? No. Why is it so? Okay. Apparently, I'm just going to have to resize this for each image. Awesome. So it made the overlay window in OBS the size of the maximum size of the images that are saved. And I guess something I saved was large. So anyway, what you're looking at right now is, I don't know, That may have frozen. My screen's frozen. I'm taking a screenshot. Sorry. Anyway, my first, whatever you want to call it, machine that I built for playing games. Second. That machine was a Phenom 4-core 955. Pretty decent at the time. I don't remember if I was coming from another AMD setup, which is why I stuck with it there instead of going to Intel for gaming. I really don't recall at all. It was a while ago. You can see there's the dates on there from when I purchased the items. So the V9 Black Edition Thermaltake case, I love that case. I'm actually using it right now in my current build, but it will not be carrying over. So you can see I had a crappy monitor. I don't think that's the one I had initially there. I'm pretty sure I got that one in 2014. So I have absolutely no idea what that old one was. And why in the world? Apparently the link that I have next to the crappy monitor is for an M2 drive. Um, okay. I don't even know if I should bother fixing that. Oh. Why is that there? You know what? I'm just going to remove that entire line from that page. Wonder if it'll live update if I replace the image. Same name. Let's see what happens here. Yes, I want to replace it, and poof, there. Aha, it's gone. Fixed it. All right. So anyway, yeah, I had two 4 gig DDR3 1333 RAM chips that ran at 1020, 1018, something like that, because the limitation that AMD had on their Northbridge at the time was just it was around 1,000 megahertz. So the RAM was not able to run at maximum speed. Pissed me off a lot. You can see before that I had 1066s, just 4 gigs, 2x2. Decided to upgrade one day. Then I was mad because I was getting the same performance, even though I moved to DDR3. I was still getting the same frequency, and whatever. It was a long time ago. It pissed me off for a long time though. I did put 4 custom case fans in. I don't even remember if they're any good. Don't remember a thing about them. I do recall though that I bought 2 different thermal compounds because I used one when I put the stock cooler on, and then I later decided I didn't want the stock cooler on, or I had to take it off and move it, and some reason or another I never put the cap back on, the stupid crap, and it dried out. So I had to buy a second one. And I don't recall what the GPU was that I had originally when I first set up the system, but I had issues with it. I think it might have actually been an onboard. I may have been using the onboard on that motherboard, the ECS board. And so I bought a HD 4890 off Craigslist. I got a great deal on that. I actually sold it 4 or 5 years later, 3 years later, when I bought the upgrade that we'll see in a moment. But I sold it for $80 several years after I used it, which was a couple years after it came out. I'm not sure if that 2009 date's right, but we'll see. Or no, we won't, because I have no way to prove it. I had an 80 plus. It wasn't rated gold or anything. It may have been bronze, but I don't think so. If you go to the Newegg link, which you can't because you can't click it, it doesn't say. It just says 80 plus. So I had a half a clue what I was doing. Maybe didn't buy the best stuff. Some of it was pretty good. Some of it wasn't. I never overclocked anything. I tried a couple times with the processor, and the board just wouldn't post, and I gave up. So moving on, I actually don't know how to move to the next image. That is moving the image. Okay. It's supposed to be manual. Use hotkeys to control slideshow, but it's not telling me what the hotkeys are. Oh, what happened? I opened the settings and closed the settings and it changed. Well, now. You may hear my keyboard. Yes, hotkeys for slideshow. What are the default keys? I just go into settings and set them. They're supposed to. Oh. Okay. Settings. General hotkeys. Search for transition. Oh, nifty. I can set them for each scene. It's a part of OBS I haven't been into. Oh, here we go. Image, slideshow. We do like a Control Shift. Wait. Show image slideshow, but not to change. Act as toggles. I don't see one to change the slideshow, just to show and hide. Image slideshow. There we go. Next slide. Have at it. All right, so make sure that we're looking at the same thing because I'm looking at the original and you've got something else on the screen. Maybe. Yes, you do indeed. These are alphabetical slides. Well then. Go make that fit on the screen for you. You've had a while to look at it. Here. Oh, we're not getting there yet. So this one, where's the processor? CPU. Oh, I forgot to alphabetize those. Nope, that's later. Wrong way again. Here, this one. Oop, that looks like it. Nope, that's the next one. I'll need to learn to name these alphabetically if I want to show them in a specific order. Wow. Okay, this is the first one we're looking at. Oh, no, no. Okay. Taking 10 seconds here, I'm going to rename those files so that they play in the right order. We'll get there. Like I said, I've never done this before, showing stuff up here. I usually preset up my games and I'm gonna call these A, B, C, and D so that they show up alphabetically. Oh, I'm back. Maybe there's C and this one will be D. Actually, I don't need to change it to D because it's already last alphabetically. So if I go back into the settings and poof, no. Can I? Oh, why does it? It just shows up. I don't know. Anyway, we're back down here into the bottom. Okay, that's the first system. We should be on ABCD now. So what happened is, I did a horrible job of setting this up. I just named them wrong. I don't know. It could just be that retarded. All right. Fixing it. So anyway, I had an electrical storm problem. And there we go. That's good. All right, so I had an electrical storm problem, and the street corner telephone pole got zapped, and it shot down the telephone pole and in through the cable line, into my cable modem, over to my switch box that I was using at the time, and then it hopped through the switch and fried every single freaking thing that I had plugged into the network. Uh, my onboard network adapter cable plug actually melted from it. I had a couple of components on the board fry and had to replace it. So that should be what we're looking at now. No, this is still in the original. Is that what I did? There's my hotkey. Yeah, that's what we're looking at now. Yep. Okay, so I bought a new case. I bought a new motherboard. Why is it 20? Yeah, I guess that's the right one. Did a couple of changes there. The configuration, got some new stuff in. I know this is taking a long time. Partially I'm doing it and partially it's taking so long because this is the first time that I've done this. And so okay, that's weird. Anyway, it's the first time that I've done this, and so I want to, kind of take the time to mess with it a bit. So the next time won't suck so hard because, first time you do things, it usually sucks. So almost got the next image cleaned up. There we go. And I really hope it's not freezing when I do that for the image. So this one goes there. Guess I want to replace it. Anyway, you can see some of the changes. I got an Arctic what is that, 30 freezer model cooler. Oh, put the box away. Sorry, I still had the box. I actually had it out earlier. That thing is a monster, 320 watt cooler, just for the CPU. It's in my case now. I'll probably show it to you guys at some point when I get around to taking the camera down from its mount. But it's huge. I don't have words to say how big that thing is. It did not fit in that case, the Xeon Exxon 180. The case bulged out from it when I actually got the cover on the side. Most of the time I gave up and just left the case open because I couldn't get it back on there. I upgraded to an HD 6850. You can see I bought basically this entire config from Newegg. The mouse was a later add-on, but I bought it before I built the next computer, so I put it on this chart. I moved over to a Gigabyte board, had plenty of problems with that. Actually, that's the one that got fried. This was just an upgrade build. Sorry, I was wrong earlier. I actually put notes in here. That's how I can tell. But so this board actually got fried, and I bought the same board for the second run. Only it's not. If you can see it on there, it's a GA990 FXA UD3. I replaced it with an FX Gamer. I think that's that one. We'll see. It's on the next slide we're going to look at. I went down in power supply because at the time there's things I didn't know that I know now. I moved to a gold efficiency and I was only really drawing about 200 watts, little under most of the time, barely peaking over 250 ever at max load. So I was like, why do I need a 650 watt power supply? This one's higher efficiency. I bought a lower one. And actually, it's pretty close to what I needed. It should have been a 500, around a 500, 550 to get the maximum efficiency out of the gold. I kept with the Ripjaw series from G-Skill, went with the X's that time, put in 32 gigs of RAM in my system for the first time, and I bought these Cougar Vortex fans. I thought these were the awesomest thing I'd ever seen. 60.4 CFM at 1200 RPM. They came with rubber insert I think that's the right term. Rubber posts instead of metal screws to mount them to get rid of vibration for sound. They were low decibel, high CFM. I thought it was the greatest thing on earth. The fans I replaced were 18 or 22 CFM, and they were dirt cheap. I mean, 1350. It's not really a lot. I did. You can if you can see it on there. I bought 6. I put 4 in this case. Uh, did I put 4 in that case? Yeah, I put 4 in that case, and then I later used the other 2 in the original Thermaltake case, which is the one I'm using right now, and they're still in there. I've been running them since 2012. No problems with any of them. Love them. Dead quiet. Never had any overheating issues, even when I've tried overclocking stuff. The webcam that's listed on here at the bottom, I'm using right now. It's actually a really nice webcam, but since Windows 10, I can no longer get it up to 720p, and I'm stuck at 640 by 480, which is why I look like shit right now. Didn't mean to cuss. I did mean to cuss, actually. I've been holding it back, though. There have been several opportunities when I wanted to cuss, and I didn't. There we go. Sorry, I cut off the total build cost down at the bottom. It's still not right. It's got a current price for that crappy Dell monitor. That's not right. I don't even. I know what that's from. It's from the Samsung. I don't know why that's there though. Right? Yeah. For some reason or other, I pasted that twice. So that's the computer I use. I played EverQuest forever on that. Anybody that's been watching any of my streaming that I've done lately, they know that that's what I've been streaming again. Uh, had a lot of fun with it. Never really had any issues until I tried to play real games. Um, the build worked out pretty well for me when I started playing some stuff. I got a couple of FPSs. I played WoW on it for a while. A few other things. I mean, it's like the gaming quality wasn't bad with this configuration. It was just I was stuck in medium to high settings. I had to turn all shadowing off. No anti-aliasing for most apps and games. A couple of them I was able to put on like 2x anti-aliasing. None of the extra features that even the video card supported I could use because as soon as I turn them on, my frame rate would drop down in the teens. So I played on low settings a lot just to get higher frame rates. But on medium, high, I could get into the 40s, and on low, I was pushing 56, 56. I think I may have hit 60 in EverQuest for a little bit, and then I got tired of how crappy it looked. But most of that was the way EverQuest looked at the time. Uh, so, it worked, and it, well, it sort of worked. I'm going to move on because this is taking a lot longer than I wanted to talk about stuff that's a decade ago or more. Come on. Oh, wrong hotkeys. So then here we are. I moved up to a Phenom 2 X6 1090T. I stuck with the AMD as I was just going to throw it in the board that I had. No problem there, right? Just keep going. Low cost of entry. I couldn't find where I bought it from. I went through my Newegg and Amazon order history all the way back to 2006 to pull a lot of the information I used to build these charts. I did all this today, and I could not find that Phenom 2 from either one of those. I have no idea where I got it from. Around the time when I put it into the computer, 2014-ish, let's see, from where I was working and who I knew, there's a very, very slim chance I may have picked it up at Best Buy. I seriously doubt it because it was around the time when I stopped shopping in stores for anything. I wouldn't buy CDs, movies, nothing. I bought it all online. So I don't think I bought it in a brick and mortar store, but I don't know where else I would have gotten it from. As my processor, I don't see me buying that from a store I wasn't familiar with. You know, cooling fans, the case, I'll buy that from wherever I can get the best price. Maybe even a webcam if from some strange place or some place I wouldn't normally buy that type of thing from. But processor I was going to put in my computer, I don't see myself doing that. At launch, I believe it was 295. So I've again the total. If you're looking at the bottom of the screen there, it does not include the processor price. Oh, not moving the right picture. There we go. So it doesn't include the processor or the case because the case was my old Thermaltake. Uh, so that was a good $1,400 computer build there. So it has the mouse in there for a second time in that cost. So maybe take $100, 150, well, the webcam. So take $200 off that build from things I bought previously. It looks like I still have the old RAM on that list too. I didn't clean this one up very well. Maybe I didn't finish doing this before I started streaming. All right, does not include case. We'll take out the webcam and RAM as repurposed. And I will add in the cost for the brain not functioning. Yeah, I have no freaking clue what I was talking about there. So I'll probably do it. When I do it, I'll remember what it was, and then I'll say it again. Let's see, I took out the mouse. Removed the case. Let me add 295 on for the processor because I know it was a new release when I bought it, and that's what it released at. Let me take the webcam out. Let's see, that's that line. I have not enough parentheses. Need to remove it then. There we go. And surprisingly, the cost comes out the same one. So took off about $250 worth of stuff and added in $295 for the processor. Jumps that price. And I cut it off again? Oh, I'll do an updated screenshot for this build, and that will show the price again. I'll add a little extra on the bottom. Hopefully it'll bump it up from into view better. And we should get an update here. Poof. That was quick. Here we go. So 1081, not including the things that are there. Added 295 for the 1090T. One more screenshot, have that updated, and we'll move on to what I've got behind me and what's on its way, which has had me so excited I actually have had a hard time sleeping for several days. Because I want to play with this computer. I want it bad. I did not go with Intel again. I had planned on building the system as an Intel board and processor, and just didn't happen. AMD sold me with the Threadrippers. So here's a chart of the things that I'm looking at. So you see that on the left side, there's a pick number. Since I don't have all the links on there, I'm actually going to stretch this, make it a little bit bigger, maybe easier for you to just read. I'll take those links off. There we go. All right, now that should be easier to read. So there's a couple things missing, and I don't have the monitors on there. I'm going to buy a 2K because I don't really think I need a 4K monitor at this point. Maybe, with another gen of GPU cards or two. But I'm going to do a 2K widescreen, probably a 32-inch. I think that'll do good. And then I'll use my BenQ that I'm using right now as a secondary screen and ditch this crappy Dell. that I'm only using so I have more than one monitor. But you can see on there, I looked at a couple different cases, a Corsair, a Fantex, and I actually went back with Thermaltake again. Sitting behind me, it was on a really good sale price. I just, I know I'm buying a cheap case again, but I can make the airflow work without it. I'm going liquid cooling on this one. I just, airflow is not going to hurt me at all. And that's if I do decide to overclock. Everything that I've seen online so far has pretty much said there's no need to. Doesn't make much of a difference. We're talking 1 to 5%, 10% max performance increases on the overclocking. Only thing I'm going to be doing is trying to get my RAM to run at the speed that it's rated for, which it's supposed to with the motherboard I bought. Going, if you see there, the green highlight lines are the things I bought. The bold underlined numbers is what I ended up paying for them and from which place I bought them from. I actually created this chart and I've been working on it for several weeks. As I did research, I probably put somewhere between 40 and 100 hours of time into this entire 4 spreadsheet thing, and 90% of that was on this one page. Finding and watching YouTube reviews on all the products that I have listed here, plus the ones that didn't make it on the lists. Reading reviews online, going to places where people actually bought them and seeing their complaints, seeing why they were returned. I even checked the Better Business Bureau on some of this stuff to see why people were complaining about, to see if any of my models showed up there, which they did because they showed up in a Google search, which is the only reason why I even thought to go to Better Business Bureau. But I did a lot of research looking into this. I learned a ton of things I didn't know already about case building, about water cooling, about the TDW is not how much wattage the component in your case is drawing. That's not the draw wattage. That's for how much heat it's putting out. You know what? I've already forgotten what it means. I have a really bad memory. You can tell me something right now, and then ask me a question about something completely random, and then after we talked about that, even if it was 3 minutes, then ask me what it was you told me before that question. I wouldn't remember it. I just my it's gone. In case you haven't noticed from when I talk on the stream, and this is probably the most talking I've ever done on my stream. I do have some attention deficit issues, and so my focus shifts very rapidly. And when I want to concentrate on something, I have to block other things out. And so sometimes when I'm gaming, I don't talk a lot while I'm streaming because there's something going on I'm focused on. And I've learned the hard way that if words are coming out of my mouth, the rest of my body doesn't respond to things that my brain should be telling it to do. Whether or not it does, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. But so if I'm in a Twitch shooter game and there's somebody walks in the room next to me and asks me a question about something that happened yesterday, my brain will completely shut off processing everything for the game in order to try and figure out what the answer is to what the person's asking me. And I'll die. I'll just die, or I'll be randomly running into a wall or something stupid. It's a pain in the butt. I'm gonna get some medication. It'll help. I'm not on it now. I took it once before in my life, and it's the only reason why I graduated college. So I know I need it. I've been able to function without it mostly. Moving on, where we were. So I've got the case behind me. Thermaltake, you probably saw it when you started up. Sometime during the stream, it's been on over my shoulder several times. So I popped for a 2950 16 core AMD processor. It'll be here Monday. I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Looking at the coolers, I did consider the 24 core. 24 thread? 24 core. Yes. I did consider the 24 core. And if you read anything online, and somebody who may watch this someday is going to ask, what the hell do you need a 16 core processor for, let alone a 24? So my understanding from my research that I've done is that current gen games, things being released within the last yesterday to maybe 18 months ago and moving forward into the next couple of years, most games are utilizing at least 6 cores, if not 8. There's a couple that actually pull more than that for usage. Now, the response that most people are going to give me to that is, but gaming doesn't really use your CPU. It uses your GPU. And you can see that that's true. I mean, if you open up your performance monitor tools, whatever the hell you want to use, there I go cussing again. Try not to. I really do on the stream. Mostly because I have 2 small kids. And the more I cuss in the stream is the more I'll cuss around them. See, I got distracted again. Anyway, your monitoring tools will show that your CPU will not be heavily utilized while you're gaming compared to other things you could do with your computer. And that's true. Now, all the work that I've done, and I've tried to figure this out for a very long time, all of the performance issues I have and all the research I've done has pointed me to my processor or the chipsets on the motherboard being the problem. I was just thinking, I do this. Hey, look, you can see me again. There we go. But it all points to the processor or the chipsets on the motherboard being my bottleneck. And so the only thing I can really do is buy a newer processor and a newer chipset motherboard. And now I can see somebody, I like to do the devil's advocate thing with people just to piss them off sometimes, but also because if I don't, who will? If you look farther down on the list, I got the ASRock. I didn't even type the name in. Got the ASRock X399 Tai Chi board. And somebody's going to say, well, the 499s are supposed to be coming out soon. Why don't you just wait and get that? Oh, because I need the computer now. I'm alpha testing for Ashes of Creation, and I don't want my hardware to be the limiting factor in my testing. Yes, they need people to test lower end systems. And to be honest, I have a lower end system. I'm using it right now to stream this. If I need to test on a lower end hardware system, I can just turn that one back on and test on it. And that way they'll get performance metrics from both. I don't actually know that they're including any software, though, to monitor performance on the client side. I believe they're more interested in server side performance. Actually, I want to close this because I got a giant black hole behind me. There we go. I meant to close that before I started, but like I said, I got tired of waiting and just started the stream anyway. What you were seeing back there was my living room. If you hadn't figured that out, don't know how you could, but if you hadn't, so moving on. I could go with a lower core count, but if games are currently using 6 to say 10 cores, and I want to stream, I want to make sure I have at least 2 cores available for handling the stream, one to record, and one to do the streaming, because I do both of those at the same time, except for right now. I'm not live streaming this. I could, should have, I'm not. That way, if I need to, I can edit. So anyway, I want to leave at least 2 threads to be available for that, 2 cores, whatever, however many threads it needs. I don't. That's going beyond the level of research I did into this. But if you're just going by core count, we're already up to 12, and that's for current gen. I want to be able to play games that people say you can't play this unless you have damn good hardware. Sorry, but you hear that on TV, so not too bad that I said it. So I'm a 16 that allows me to do all those things. And one thing that I'd like to do ever since I moved to a 4-core processor is I like to assign CPU 0 to, I use affinity modifications to prevent every single application from using it except for the system. So that my operating system should always be able to respond even if every other application on my system is locked up. For whatever reason, I don't want to not be able to say, oh, I need to kill that process because something on my system's messed up and preventing me from being able to use my computer at all. So I'll lock those other processes down and not let them use CPU 0. And that way the system has complete control over that. It can always utilize CPU processing if it needs to. Now, if it's the drives that are messed up or something else that is needed to function for the computer, I'm just screwed. But as far as cores in my processor, I always leave one dedicated for the system to use, which of course, when I start a random application, it'll use it too. And eventually, it takes time. You get your Affinity set up. Rambling again and moving on. A lot of times when I build systems, I don't know if you noticed from the previous slides, I will buy more than one part from the same vendor. Vendor? No, they're not vendors. Manufacturers. So you see here, I went with Thermaltake for my CPU cooler. Not because it was Thermaltake and because I bought a case that was Thermaltake and my last case was Thermaltake. I do like the Thermaltake stuff. This was one of the hardest pieces that I chose for my system. I can't even count how many YouTube channels I've been to and how many videos I've watched on water cooling. I don't want to do an all-in-one. I'm not spending $400 to $700 though to water cool this system that has a 90% chance I won't be overclocking it. I'm doing water cooling because I have a tempered glass case. I want the internals to look nice. I don't want a giant cooling fan there in the way. And I've always wanted to do water cooling. This is a good step in. This is $173 is a bit high, but it is a 360, 3x120 millimeter fans. I thought it was something I could get into, learn a bit about. I'll also have to buy a second one for the GPU. Yes, I'm going to water cool the GPU and make a nice, clean, neat case. So I lost my train of thought. It's gone. Anyway, water cooling rocks. Yay. Not necessary. But if I'm going to spend this much on a computer, throwing an extra $100 in there for the water cooling all-in-one is okay. Like whatever. So next line there in green, I went with the 970 Pro from Samsung. Can't beat the performance. I've got a 950 Pro now. The 960 and 970 weren't out when I got it. They were on the last few screenshots there. I downgraded though to the 512. I was going to get the terabyte. I decided shave $200 off my total cost. It's one of the first things I ordered. Sitting right here next to me. At the time, I had less funds available. I spent money I shouldn't have to build this in the first place, but I just decided I'll get the 512 and then I'll get a second M2 because my motherboard supports 3. So happy. I'm going to get a second M2. As you can see, I'm going to do the 970 Evo, the line right above that. Performance is a little bit lower, but I can pop a terabyte for under $400. I mean, Newegg had it at $334, and that wasn't even a sale price. So I'm hoping maybe Black Friday, I might see it down at $290, $295, $275 even. Slap a terabyte M2 into that system. Awesome. And what I'm going to do with that, by the way, is I will create 2 partitions on there. And one of those I'm going to mount into the Steam Games, what is it, Common Apps folder, directory, whatever you want to call it, on the computer, and have all my Steam games installed on it. And I understand the performance is lower there, but that also that takes the games off of my OS drive, releases some of that space, because let's face it, I mean, it's hard to find a game that's 20 gigs now. I'm expecting Ashes to be somewhere between 50 and 90 gigs in size. We might get lucky. It might push out of 25 or 30, but it's going to grow. I don't know. Black Desert Online was pushing 60 gigs last time I checked. I think it was at 54 if you had installed when it launched and added all the patches as they came out. I know that if you wipe your installation and install clean, it actually sits around 28 to 34 last time I installed it, which granted, I logged in when they launched the new characters, and actually I put that on YouTube, although I don't think this video is there anymore, and I'm not sure I have it. I think that was in June. and I played for a week. I had to reinstall it then. Uh, but anyway, space, need it. I can make do with 512 gigs for now, no problem. So GPU, you'll see I've got 4 options listed there. I haven't decided. I know for certain I'm not throwing out $1,200 for 2080 Ti. That no, not happening. I am willing to go 800 on the 2080 though, maybe. We'll see what happens there. As you can see, the release date isn't until near the end of September. Probably gonna need something the week before that, so I'm gonna have to take my did I even talk about it? Anyway, I have an R9 380X. I always get the name of the stupid thing wrong. Nitro. It's a Sapphire card. Works good-ish. If you put this computer into any type of benchmarking website, you get fantastic ratings for everything. You put that R9 in there, and it drops to a 49% efficiency for gaming. So I may have to deal with it for a couple of weeks because I won't have that money available for that 2080 until probably around October 10th. So I got about a month. I'm gonna have to deal with that Sapphire card. It happens. I've been contemplating putting a 1080 Ti or 2 in. As you can see by the prices on here, I checked that out a while ago. They're no longer up in the 800 range. They've been coming down in price steadily. If they drop below $500, there's a significant chance that I will get the VGA, probably the hybrid model that I have listed on there. I will probably end up with that. In which case, I don't know if I'll get the 2K monitor right away. Well, I'm not getting it right away. Or if I'll put that off and just stick with the 1080p for another year or two. So again, I don't think I want a 2080. I think I want what they release after the 2080. And I think that's going to come out sooner than we think it will. They will probably release something next summer after the 2080. And because they've already said they're working on the smaller die size. And I think the performance of that card will be significantly better compared to a 1080 to make it worth the price if it's under $1,000. And if it's not, well, even if it is over or under $1,000, the 2080s will come down in price then and may be worth buying. But again, if I get a 1080, I'm probably not going to get a 2080. Lots and lots of reviews, lots to talk about that. My thought process on the 2080 is that compared to the card I have now, it is completely worth $800 to buy a 2080. If the 1080s don't drop below 500. If the 1080 Ti, sorry. If the 1080 Ti's are below $500 for a brand new card, like the hybrid one that's listed there already has water cooling attached. I won't have to buy a GPU cooler, water cooler. So, and same thing with the Water Force model from Gigabyte. If those drop down to 500 or less new, I'm gonna get it. I'm not even gonna think about getting the 2080. I will save that $300 and whatever change and have one heck of a good time with that money instead of getting a 2080. No brainer there. All right, moving on. Because again, we're at an hour already on this recording, and I probably won't edit very much out, if any at all. I don't like editing videos. I have a hard time with it because I haven't found a software that's I'm comfortable with. I think they're all far too advanced. All the video editing softwares are far too advanced for what I'm doing. Something that's going to take me a significant amount of time just to learn how to use, and a significant amount of time to do simple tasks that I want to do. It's just too much effort for me. I mean, for the most part, I want to cut a section out of the middle and put the two ends together. And that's pretty much it when I edit video. I'm not going to do overlays and stuff like that because most of what I record is being streamed live, and then whoever sees it live is going to miss out on all those additional effects that are being done, so I'm not going to bother. Maybe I'll pay somebody to do me an intro because I don't feel like doing all that stuff. Continuing again, sidetracked. So the ASRock X399 Tai Chi, pick that one. Primarily, I don't need 10 gigabit NICs. I don't know why anybody needs 10 gigabit NICs in their house. The board supports ECC RAM, which is a possible future upgrade for me. Has all the ports I need. Supports 3 M2 drives. Good to go. Done. Moving on. I went with an EVGA Supernova for my power supply. That's what I'm waiting on until the end of next week. I think I mentioned that already. And if you notice from one of my one of my prior builds that I showed up on the screen, I was using I don't see it anywhere. I'm looking for it. Well, maybe I cut it off. Oh, there it is. Okay, on the 1090T build, I had 2 power supplies on there, and actually it's the one I'm using right now. I have EVGA Supernova 750 Platinum. I didn't realize that literally until today. And the sad thing about that is that side of my case is open, has always been open, and the reason why I replaced this case and didn't use it continually through, which by the way, when I switched back to this case, I took the hardware from, I don't remember what I was going to say there. Anyway, I recently sold my 955, and it was in the newer case that I bought for the 1090 build. And instead I used the 1090 I said I used the Thermaltake for the 1090. So anyway, it has sideways mounted hard drives. The cables stick out to the side. And I tried bending the cables so they would fit with the side panel up on the case and snapped the pins right off of a brand new hard drive. Thankfully, they supported it under the hardware warranty, saying that cable management is not a valid reason to void the warranty. And I don't know if that'll hold up for anybody else they tried, but I told them exactly what happened. I said, look, plug the cable in the case. I flexed the cable. When I released the little thingy on the end, I don't know, the part that plugs onto the pins. I know the word, I just can't think of it right now. Sorry. Anyway, when I released that side and I was still holding the cable in place, the pins that stuck off the hard drive that whole part of the PCB just snapped right off. Gone. But I told them about it because I called in instead of emailing for the warranty and to see if they would cover it. And because it was literally a brand new drive, I had my order number for them and the receipt. I'd actually had the drive in my house less than 3 hours. They're like, yeah, we'll just ship you another one, okay? And just put the one you have in the same box. There'll be a return label. You can send the broken one back after you receive the new one. It's like, you guys are freaking awesome. By the way, it's Western Digital. It was a black drive, 5-year warranty. So, paid off for me. I always like buying the black 5-year warranty drives. So, anyway, that side of the case is always open. You can see the power supply from there. And it says, even though it's upside down, EVGA 750 right there. It doesn't say Supernova though, or if it does, it's small enough I don't notice it. So I don't know why I didn't know I had a Supernova, but anyway, I went with a titanium Supernova 1000 watt. I went with this model. You can see over on the far right column under the details. Not only did I get a 12-year warranty on it, but it's a 96% efficiency at optimum load. It's 94% efficiency if below optimum load. And I don't remember what it is if I go over the optimum load, but it doesn't freaking matter because I could put 2 or probably even 3 2080s before I exceed the optimum load on this system. No, that's not true. I could put 1 in there and overclock it, or 2 and not overclock it, and it would exceed the load. Optimum load on this is between 400 and like 650, 750 range, maybe even 8 if I'm lucky. At max load with what I'm putting in there, I shouldn't exceed 650 watts. I will sit nice and pretty in that 96% efficiency. Now, while this is going to be a gaming and streaming exclusive machine, I'm not going to use it as my daily machine. I'm going to keep what I'm using now for that purpose because I've got a bunch of server side stuff running to support laptops and tablets and remote access and all kinds of stuff runs on this machine. So it runs 24/7 all the time. Gaming machine's not going to. But at that 96% efficiency, I paid, well, because I went with a 1,000 watt and a titanium, I probably paid about $90 more than I could have and gotten like another 750. The fact the 750 platinum from the prior sheet, if you look on there, let's see, it's in my current build price. It's $130 right now. I can buy that exact same model for 130. I paid 210 for this, so $80 difference. Well, that one is an 80 plus platinum. It's a 90% efficiency, and then it hits 92% in optimum. The difference in electrical usage that's lost in heat is that 4%. So that extra 4%, all that is extra draw that the power supply is going to pull in, and then instead of turning it into current that goes out to the components inside the computer case, it expels that as excess heat and just wastes that electricity. Just that extra 4%, assuming that at the 750 watt power supply, I was in the optimal range all the time with it, which I wouldn't be. I'd be peaking out the top, which actually is usually the same or worse than lower efficiency, and then the lower end of the wattage usage. I think on that model, it's either 88 or 90% for the top end on the 750 watt. But so most of the time, I would probably be in the 90% range of efficiency there. Just that extra 6% will save me in electricity. The difference in cost between the 1,000 watt and the 750 watt in less than 2 years. And this has a 12-year warranty on it, and I'm going to use it for that long. My next computer is going to have that power supply in it. The computer after that is probably going to have that power supply in it, and then I might consider replacing it. I've never, once I've had a power supply die on me, and that was the one that I also lost in that electrical storm. Yeah. So, only time I've lost a power supply for any reason at any time. Every other power supply I've ever bought is probably still functional. I even still have several of them in my closet, just in case I need something. I mean, seriously, if the one I'm using now, that 750, this case is the computer I'm using right now is probably pulling somewhere around 220 to 260 right now in wattage. I've got another 450 in the closet. I've got a 600 in the closet. I may have a 250 hiding in the closet somewhere if I go look. I've moved too many times. I'm not really sure exactly where each one of these are, but I know for a fact I've had my hands on the 450 in the last 10 hours. So I know it's right there. I can grab that out and throw it in here, and my computer will keep running until I can get a replacement. It's a gold, so it's going to put out a lot of extra heat. But, so that extra percent, if at max load on a 1,000 watt power supply, it wouldn't be at the 96% efficiency, it would be at 94, so it would only be putting out 940 watts. It would be the maximum that I would actually get out of this 1,000 watt power supply. So if my computer components were pushing 960 watts, the system probably wouldn't post if that was its power on usage. I don't know this. I'm taking from what I think I know. When you power on electronics that are cold, they pull more power than they would be when they're idle and running for a while. It has to charge up the capacitors. That's what I think it is right. There's a good chance I'm wrong, and I really don't care if I'm wrong, but that's what I think it is, and there's no reason for me to find out whether or not I'm right or wrong. Maybe I'll look it up one day, maybe I won't. Last thing on this list, and we can be done with this list, and I can show you guys some of the stuff that I've got behind me, and actually my current case. I want to show that too. Went back with G.Skill. I've had no problems with G.Skill stuff. It's performed fantastic for me. the times that I've used G.Skills RAM and not been able to get the rated frequency for the RAM, I've been able to get better cast timings on them. I've taken a 9 cast older, DDR3 chip, and instead of getting 1900 or 2400, I think I had some 2400 DDR3s, I was only getting 1566 or something. But I was running them at 667 or 676 cast latency instead of 999 or 111111, whatever the model was rated for. I got it significantly lower because of the fact that it wasn't running at optimal. And that's something you'll learn if you look into RAM a lot. The faster it runs is the worse your cast latency is. You can see on here these 3200s are CL14s, which is really freaking good. I paid a lot for them. I wanted that. The other thing is, for my motherboard and from G.Skill themselves, this model is rated to actually run at 3200, which most 3400 RAM won't run at 3200 on an X399 TR4 AMD Threadripper board. So I paid probably an extra 200, yeah, a good $200 just because this RAM is supposed to run at what it says at CL14. Also, those other 3400 and 3200 RAM sets that I was talking about in Quad Channel are mostly rated for CL16 to CL19. So I'm getting much faster RAM that's supposed to work at its rated speed. And the reason why this is important for this build is the way the 950 and the other Threadrippers actually function. I have a good analogy that's not accurate, but the concept is right. Okay, so you have to bear with me here. All right, the CPU cores are laid out. Oh, sorry, my nose keeps itching. There's a lot of dust in this room. And since I've had the computer in here, I've had the ceiling fan on medium setting, 24/7, to just keep the room cool. On this side of me, which is that side for you. No, wait. This side for you. Whatever. It's to my left, but in the camera, it looks like it's to my right. Bugs the crap out of me. And if I flip it over, then words will be backwards and you can't read them for anything I show to the camera. Oh, you know what I normally do? I normally pick up whatever I'm drinking or something and do like a pretend advertiser at the beginning. We'll do that in a moment. I want to finish what I'm saying before I forget it. Anyway, over there is a sliding glass door that goes to a deck, which isn't altogether a bad thing. I've got it blocked right now by my desk, so tough. But the reason why the fan's on all the time to try and keep the room cool is the sun shines on that glass sliding door, 2 panels, sliding doors, they go, all right. Sorry, I was looking at my picture instead of the camera. The sun shines on that for 80% to 90% of the 80%. We'll say 70 to 80% of the entire day. It rises out that door and it stays out the door as past noon, comes back. You can't even see my hand. Anyway, sun rises out that door, comes up to noon-ish, whatever angle noon is here, based on the time of year and rotate. There's stuff that affects it. It's not straight up, okay? Anyway, until about 3:30, where it cuts the corner of the house and no longer shines directly in this door. So pretty much the entire day and most of the hottest part of the day, the sun shines on these 2 giant freaking glass sheets. It gets hot in here. It gets really hot in here. With the ceiling fan off, both doors closed, nothing covering the sliding glass doors. Yes, both doors. There's double doors behind me and there's a single door over here. I have a lot of doors. Plus there's closet doors over there and the sliding doors over there. All told, 2 closet doors, 2 doors to the living room. The sliding glass door technically counts as 2 doors. We're up to 6, and I got another door that goes out to the hallway. Anyway, with all the doors closed, nothing blocking the window, the temperature in this room will get, with no electronics in here, more than 20 degrees above the ambient room temperature in the rest of the house, with the air conditioning vent open. So I have 2 layers of curtain, both blackout style, hanging in front of the doors. And then I've got other stuff, the desk and things piled up in front of it. I try and block as much as possible, and the fan stays on all the time. That's done with that. I was going somewhere with the RAM still, I think. Ooh, I get distracted easy. My nose keeps itching. Quadrants. Right. So remember math from back in the day, and you had to do quadrant stuff. They just took a square and broke it into 4 parts for some dumb reason. Top left is quadrant 1, top right is quadrant 2, bottom left quadrant 3, bottom right quadrant 4. Okay. Basically, the processor is broken up into 4 parts, like that. There's smaller subsections within those 4 parts. Yes, I know that. I know more than what I'm going into here. I'm just trying to simplify this as much as possible so this video, which is already an hour and 15 minutes long, doesn't hit 10 hours. All right. So we have 4 quadrants. In each quadrant, we're just going to take a random example here. I'm not saying this is exact. I'm not saying this is right. This is the idea. We're going to say that quadrants 2 and 3. Okay, so I skipped the part that's important. Sorry. The RAM slots on the motherboard are split 4 on one side of the processor and 4 on the other side of the processor. They're not all 8 banks together. Yes, I have 8 banks for RAM. Yes, it supports ECC RAM. Yes, it supports up to 128 gigs of RAM. Moving on. We have 4 quadrants. Okay, using our example, quadrants 2 and 3 have direct access to the RAM. Quadrants 1 and 4 do not. They have a bridge. Quadrant 1 bridges to quadrant 2, and quadrant 4 bridges to quadrant 3 and passes through their connection to get to the RAM. The way it's, sorry, my nose is, I might have to pause the stream and do something about it, but the way it was explained in multiple videos and some of the papers that I read was that you lose 50% of the performance of your RAM if those bridges have to be used, but only to the cores that are in those quadrants that are using the bridge, 1 and 4 in our example. So my 3200 megahertz rated RAM, if it's running at 3200, quadrants 1 and quadrants 4 of my processor cores, which is effectively 50% of my 16 cores or 32 threads, 16 of my 32 threads, are only going to be able to access it at 1700 megahertz. 1600. Bad math. Sorry. At 1600 megahertz. I was thinking about the RAM that I was talking about earlier was 3400. So half the speed. And the latency is higher, but not by that same type of doubler, which it would be doubler for latency because higher latency is worse. It's more than that. Those cores, the performance on them is so horrible compared to what would be our quadrants 2 and 3 that AMD has a feature called gamer mode that disables them. So when you're playing a game, your game doesn't try to utilize those cores because your game performance would just turd on you. And it's the only thing really that allows the Threadrippers to compete against the better Intel chips. People can argue whatever they want. Because of that latency problem and the memory access speed decreasing from those bridges, without the gamer core functionality, the Threadrippers would not be marketable at all for gamers. Not at all. Not for streamers, gamers, nothing. Nobody would buy them. There'd be no point for the price range. Just go ahead and get a cheaper Intel chip. Yes, I said cheaper Intel. You can spend $650 on an Intel chip right now that would pants the Threadripper if your game tapped into those cores that were across the bridges. Smoke it. All right. I know there's reviews out there that show the performance isn't that great. They're just showing the FPS. FPS isn't everything that happens in your game. It has a lot to do with it, but it's you get most of your FPS from your graphics processor. It doesn't come from your CPU. We discussed this a little bit earlier. Your CPU usage is relatively low. All right, when you're playing games, because most of the work is done by the GPU. But if your processor sucks, your game's gonna suck, and that's just all there is to it. The processor has to call to your hard drive to load the texture files and all the graphics, and then it passes that to the GPU. So it loads it from the hard drive, puts it into RAM, passes the RAM data over to your GPU, which then loads into your VRAM. It may not be 100% correct. I understand somebody's going to say, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. See, I shouldn't have said that word, but anyway, that's what they're gonna say. And that's true. It doesn't. I've already explained. My brain doesn't work so well. I forget things. Things get jumbled up. I'll lose words. We've already experienced that in this stream, even. You know. But that's the basic process. Maybe one or two of the steps aren't 100%. But I've learned through component swapping that having a faster, better performing hard drive will improve your gameplay. If you have problems where I had this in BDO and I've got 500 screenshots, probably over 1,000 of this, where I was riding a horse through a town and the town didn't load. My horse was riding in the air, the ground didn't load. When the ground showed up, the buildings weren't there. Only thing that loaded was like the shutters and a couple of lights. Everything else hadn't loaded yet until I'd already passed it. I moved from a 7,200 RPM standard hard drive to an M2 drive, and all of that went away. That's the only change I made in my case. Everything loaded immediately as the game told my system, you should be able to see this. Load it now. It was there. No hesitation at all. Only thing I changed was the hard drive. So I have theoretical scientific proof of that. It was not a scientific study, but I did have a control, and I did only change one thing, one variable in my quote test. Well, I wasn't actually doing a test, but I changed the drive to something with insane performance comparatively. The 950 Samsung Pro is faster than every other SSD that uses a SATA 3 port. It is. Okay, you can look that up. I'm not going to try and give you numbers. I've got the 970 Pro, which it performs better. I really wanted the terabyte one because the performance was significantly higher on the terabyte 970 Pro than the 512 970 Pro. But like I said, at the time, I wanted to go ahead and order it. I had the money. I didn't want to spend it on my computer. So I downgraded to the 512, and I'm going to buy a terabyte slower one. It's an M2 drive. At those performance levels, it's not going to matter to me any that I've got the slightly lesser performing 512. Oh well. Right? So going back to our example, the data has to load from your hard drive. Your processor handles the hard drive part of this equation. Your hard drive, yeah, it does the spinning, it's got its cache, blah, blah, blah. But if the CPU doesn't tell it to do it and doesn't handle what happens to the data after the hard drive pulls it up, then nothing happens. So you need your CPU to tell the data from the hard drive to go to the RAM. And I know that's not right, but it's the process is there. Okay, the terminology's not. Sorry. I apologize for that a lot, but I just want to make sure you understand. I know when what I'm saying isn't 100% accurate, and sometimes it doesn't matter, and sometimes it does. And I'd like to think that I know the difference between those times too. So anyway, data goes from your hard drive to the RAM because the processor told it to. Functionality of the hard drive and the RAM affect the performance of that process as well as your CPU. Okay. Then your processor has to call the data out of your RAM to give to the GPU. The GPU loads it into the VRAM. The GPU talks to the processor. There's a whole process there. I don't have all the details. I don't know them. I've never looked them up. I don't care. That's the basic premise. Okay. Now, modern times now, since I looked that up, it's been a few years, more than just a couple. It could be that the CPU can throw that straight into your VRAM and doesn't use your normal RAM for that part of the process, for the graphical part of it. But it's still doing number crunching and algorithms and draws and whatever it does. Your CPU is still being used for uh, it's important. All right. If your performance of your CPU drops, then the performance of the entire process drops, regardless of the GPU you're using. Your GPU, think of it like a relay race in the Olympics with a baton, right? 4 guys or girls are running in a big friggin' circle for no purpose other than to stick a stick in somebody else's hand. I probably shouldn't have said it that way. Anyway. All right. One person's really slow. The other 3 people can make up some time. They can't make up all of it because they've lost the time that the slow person caused them to lose. But if they're enough faster than their competition, they can still win. So having a crappy processor doesn't mean that you can't get good FPS. Is what I'm trying to say. If everything else in your computer is top of the line, the best thing money can buy, and your processor is mid-row, you're still going to get good performance. Okay? Because everything combined gives you that. You won't get the best performance because your processor is your bottleneck. So that's why the Threadripper has gamer mode that turns off the crappy processors. If it can get rid of the latency that those cores could possibly interject into your relay race, then you will get a better time, or FPS in gaming example. That's why I went with the RAM. That's why I'm going to use gamer mode. Even if people testing show, oh, you only lose 4 or 5 frames per second if you don't turn on gamer mode in this game. That's great. Your game possibly, when you ran the test, didn't hit one of those cores with the latency, or only hit one of them. And was only, or maybe it was only using maybe it was using 6 cores and only one of them hit one of the slower ones. You don't have that control over it unless you go in and set your affinity. And you need to learn which cores are the ones that have the slower performance, which you can probably do if you disable them using gamer mode. Maybe Windows recognizes that they're unavailable and won't let you set affinity to them at that point, or even removes them from the list. So you could possibly figure it out unless it renumbers. If it renumbers, you're screwed. So you could theoretically, and I will probably try and do that so I don't have to switch back and forth between gamer mode and not when I don't need it. But it's there. It's there for a reason. I understand it. Price-based, 16 cores. Even if I'm only going to use 8 with 16 threads when I'm gaming, the processor is worth it. That's all there is. From what I'm upgrading from, a 1090Ti is pretty old, and is the current minimum specification process. Actually, it's below the current minimum specification processor for a significant number of games, especially Ashes. Ashes of Creation, I think, is looking for FX 8150 as the minimum from AMD. So that's a generation after mine. Actually, it's technically 2 gens because I think the 8150, it's either the 8150 or the 8350 is the minimum for Unreal 4 that Ashes is using for their engine. And somebody probably already knows off the top of their head that's watching this or is going to Google it because I said it and will prove me right or wrong. I don't care. But I'm pretty sure that the 7000 series was the highest end of the FXs in the first generation after the 1090Ti was out. And then the 8000s were released later. Or maybe even the 6 was the first, the 7s was the second, and the 8s were the third. But either way, my processor's down the hill. It's not even making it to the top for minimum spec. So this is a worthwhile upgrade. And that's why I'm hyped. Done. I can't believe that took me 20 minutes. Whew. All right, well, moving on. So I may have mentioned earlier, this is so off topic. I'm going to cover it anyway because I did it and I set it up, and that's just how it is. All right. Wow, that is huge. Why are my screenshots so large? Oh my god, I don't even think I can make them smaller. So anyway, I have gigabit Ethernet. I have Verizon gigabit Ethernet. I know, it's not gigabit. Anyway, I got VPN. I got a VPN. All right, I went with NordVPN. I don't have an affiliate link or anything for them, so if you want Nord, then just go get it. They've got a great sale on right now, and if you don't have an affiliate link to click on from anybody else to get that great deal, it'll actually pop up on the screen if you just leave their homepage up for a little while. Dirt cheap. I went ahead and paid for 2 years flat out, $95. Done. Now, this test it's on the screen right now. I need to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. There, that one. Alphabetical order. They should all work out fine because I've got them by date. Okay, so this is without VPN on my gigabit Verizon using wireless on my laptop. My laptop has a good wireless card in, apparently. My new motherboard has AC dual band built in, so I should be okay. I won't have to rig something up to get Ethernet into my room here. But the computer I'm using now has a crappy USB Wi-Fi. Claims to be 300 megabit max rated. All right, sure, maybe. Anyway, this is what my laptop is getting without the VPN. All right, and that's connected to the 5 gigahertz wireless N network. I ran the test a second time just to check. Pretty close to the same thing. Good to go. So then I hopped on to 2.4 gigahertz on my desktop because that's what the USB stick supported. And this is what my desktop was getting. This is no VPN. Darn it. There's too much dust in this room. I'm kind of worried about my computer, but we'll see what happens. So desktop, sucking it pretty hard. I was like, what in the frick is that? So I ran it again. Oh my gosh, look at the numbers. 52 and 45, 52 and 49. This thing sucks. So then I went and I tested my laptop on the VPN. 99, 161. Without the VPN, it was 206 and 195. So now I have to say, I've done when the gigabit internet was installed in the house, I whined and complained a lot. I was getting like 650 down and 1200 up. And the guy sat here for 3.5 hours with me just trying to get my speed working right. That was initially it was a lot slower because they forgot to provision me. Even though he called it in, the guy at the other end still didn't provision me. He maybe did my neighbor or something. I don't know what happened. But anyway, they spent a long time trying to get it working. In the end, I end up around 700, 750 down, and I can still break a gigabit going up. I've seen 1100 on my upload. So I'm not capped. They inform me the fact that their gigabit speeds currently, in my area at least, are not capped in any way other than if 50,000 people are downloading, a 10 terabyte file at the exact same time, we're not all going to get the best speeds possible. Other than that, I may be really loud. Looks like I've been peaking up pretty high. I really hope the audio is not screwed up. If my audio is screwed up, then let me turn me down a little bit, just in case. All right. I hope I'm not breaking up in the mic too. Crap. I didn't do a mic check. Moving on. It's screwed up. It's screwed up. I'm not going to do it again. It's just tough. This will be a screwed up video that'll never get posted with a lot of rambling and ranting. So anyway, that's what the laptop get on 5 gigahertz N in the VPN. Half download. About, was that 60%? About 70%, maybe 80. Yeah, maybe 70%. We'll go with 70, right? No, wait. Brain not functioning. Yeah, that's actually closer to like an 80% on the upstream. So moving forwards, I went to the desktop and tested it again on 2.4 gigahertz, and we got 30 and 35. As a reminder, I had 52 and 49 previously. Then that was without VPN. This is with, sorry. So my gigabit internet, which dropped to 50 megabit because I was using a crappy Wi-Fi USB adapter with the VPN on, is now 30 megabit for my gigabit internet. Now I understand, gigabit, that doesn't mean I'm going to get a gigabit on one device even, and that'll be for all devices in the house, which I have quite a few that use the internet. That's fine, but 30? 30 is pretty crappy. Like crappy, like I wouldn't use it crappy because I'm paying for gigabit. If I was paying for 100 megabit, I wouldn't complain at all about 30. 30 is perfectly fine. I can do pretty much everything I need to with 30, unless I'm used to pulling 700 plus. Then 30, I'm pretty pissed about, actually. So moving forwards, let's see. This one is a new server. Yes, I connected to a new server on the laptop, still on 5 gigahertz N, using the VPN, and got a little bit lower, 91 megabit on the down. We were at 99.9 previously. and 165 on the up. I was at 161. So, change servers on the VPN, little different performance. All still US based. Sorry, should have said that. I did all this testing with US based. And you'll notice these are all on Speakeasy. I did not do all of my tests on Speakeasy, just the initial ones as I got some idea of the performance and some other stuff. All right. So moving forwards, I now also on a new server tested my desktop again, 31 and 37. Download went up by 1, upload went up by 2. Still horrible performance. Wasn't sure what to think. So the next thing I did, I rebooted everything. All right, it gave me a new server connection, and on my laptop again. Let's see, this one is still on 5 gigahertz, NordVPN connected. After the reboot, all of a sudden I'm up 15 megabit on my download and another 12 on my upload. I was like, oh wow, reboot really helped. I was like, well, let me test again just to make sure, change servers. Download pretty much the same. And we went from 14 to 15, and upload went from 177 to 191. Upload went even higher. I was like, wow, all right. So, it does matter which server you connect to. Can make a bit of a significant difference. I mean, that right there is, what's that? 14-point increase. That's, was that like 7.5%? A 7.5% increase just by changing servers randomly. I didn't select an individual one. There's over 2,000 US based servers for them. I just picked the one I sort by closest, and then it default sorts by utilization. So most of the time when I pick a server, I'm picking something that's single digit utilization, not even into 10%. Occasionally I've had to pick a 12%, but it dropped back down below 10% shortly after I selected it. Anyway, improvement after reboot. I was like, sweet, let me check my desktop, right? So still on VPN, still on 2.4 gigahertz N with a crappy adapter, and boom, 47.8 and 46. Jumping up from 30 and 35. Wow. I mean, that's like 50% increase in speed just because I rebooted after it. This was after installing the VPN software, which the steps for this particular VPN software didn't say you had to reboot. Although another company I was looking at did say to reboot after installing, which is where I got the idea from. I was like, oh, maybe I should reboot. And I did. So there's that. Better performance. I'm a little bit happier. All right. So moving forwards, went to a different site. Figured, all right, now that I've got an idea, let's check somewhere else. So we're still on the desktop, still on 2.4 gigahertz, wireless N, connected to NordVPN. After the reboot, and 50 and 48. I'm like, it's higher. All right, I can handle that if it keeps going up. Let's check another website. So same deal, same setup, lower. So it's variable. I understand that speed tests are variable. We're not going to get into that. Different distance. You can see this one's New York. That's why I made sure the screenshot showed the locations, if shown. That site didn't show me a location, or maybe it did before I started the test. You can see Speakeasy always shows where I connected to. Most often was DC, not always. So, and I do know that Spectrum uses speed test. I made sure that was there in the screenshot. All right. So I got a worse connection going to New York. Well, whatever. So I just went ahead and went over to speed test. And I ran it. Almost identical. See, 46 and 42, 40 and 47. That's pretty close. I mean, it's still sub 50 again, which is what I was getting from Speakeasy. So that was Baltimore, Maryland. I think I changed the destination server. Yeah, changed to again, went to DC, ran it again. 37 and 25. That's a huge variance. All right, what we peaked at this one? Oops, one too far. We peaked at 50 and 48. And now we're getting 37 and 25. I haven't changed the VPN connection. What I did do between this one and this one was change to another USB adapter. The one I'm using originally is a Panda U2 or U4. It's a really good USB adapter for using Kali Linux. I'm going to leave it at that. And I switched from that over to a Patriot, which had really good reviews when I bought it, but it was kind of old. And so I wasn't too expecting better. I was thinking either something was wrong with the Panda, and that's why it was so low, and that's why I tried another adapter, or maybe it was just a USB adapter. So I put the Patriot in, Patriot tanked hard. Which, by the way, I had to reboot my computer when I swapped out the USB adapters. It would not connect to the internet. It connected to the network perfectly. Straight up, I was able to access the router and do stuff on it, check the settings, but I could not get online until I rebooted. And this has been a recurring thing since I installed NordVPN. If I change any type of situation with my network, right now I actually have an Ethernet cable plugged in because I was afraid that with this variable stuff it would kill me. By the way, I am also on Nord now, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not streaming. It's because I'm on Nord, but I am on Wired. So, gone. No idea. Anyway, I checked another test, 17 and 22, using this other adapter. Still 2.4 gigahertz N on the desktop. After reboot, I have to reboot after every time I change something. If I plug the network cable in, I have to reboot. If I unplug it, I have to reboot. If I change the USB wireless adapters, I have to reboot. If I do an IP release and renew, I have to reboot. It connects, like I said, fine to the router, will not go onto the internet. I can even map over to my laptop, but I can't get on the internet until I reboot. It's something with the VPN. I don't know what. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way. Right now, it's not bothering me, and in the future, I'm not planning on changing my network connectivity settings or adapters. So I don't see it as an issue, and 90% of people will never run into it. I figured I'd mention it though because it happened every time. Moving forwards, run another test, 37 to 25. Is this one still on the Patriot device? So then I found that I had an Ethernet cable that was long enough and ran it out to my router, plugged it back in just to see 94 and 161 on Ethernet from my desktop. Killer 2200 gigabit Ethernet built-in network adapter. Now, if you remember, and I'm not going to scroll back because it was just too many screenshots ago, the laptop on the 5 gigahertz N got 206 and 195, down and up. I'm wired right now. What's going on? And like, seriously, not a happy camper. Moving forwards, tried again. I was excited. I hit 106 and 161, best numbers yet on the desktop. Still not getting the download speed of wireless on my laptop, sitting right next to me, by the way. It's actually farther away from the router, although it's closer to line of sight because of the angle. And a message popped up and says, why don't you try speed test for Windows? I'm like, oh yeah, I have that. Actually, I uninstalled it. So I downloaded it again. And I installed it. While that was running, I ran some other tests. Look, 105, 166, we're getting better already. Let's try that other side I was on, 96 and 102. Let's not go back to Spectrum. They haven't given me any good numbers yet. I said, forget them. So got the app installed, okay? Now, here's the thing. With the speed test app installed on the desktop and on the laptop, if the VPN is active, the app will not test at all. It comes up, it says go, you hit go, and it disappears. The process just goes away. Ventlog just has a generic Windows 1000 application error. Google shows no. Crap, I just pulled a key off my keyboard. Google shows no information at all for that. No clue. It's just, sorry, buddy. Couldn't get anything. Couldn't get anywhere. I didn't feel like spending a lot of time on it. I put maybe like 30 minutes in trying to figure it out. Gave up. It will not run with the VPN software active. Wireless, wired, desktop, laptop, everything's Windows 10. Could not get it to run at all. So I deactivated my VPN. just to see if there was something wrong with my internet. Because I hadn't tested it without the VPN and wired. 675 down and 61 up. I'm like, how am I getting worse upload? Really? So I believe in the next screenshot, I changed the destination server. I just picked something that was nearby on the map to where that location is. I was like, let me just run it again. But 10 millisecond ping. That was good. I was 12 and 13 millisecond ping, by the way, on NordVPN. So actually, the ping was really good. I know ping makes a huge difference in latency versus your actual performance speed. You don't need that high of a speed to do a lot of things. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, ping 10. Okay, that's not great. It's not perfect, but it's not that far off from what the VPN was giving me. So, not too bad. Great download, really bad upload. Something wrong. Let me run it again. Poof! 718 and 973. I'm happy. That's what I should be getting, more or less, for my gigabit Ethernet. So now I'm thinking, how do I get an Ethernet cable over to this box? Because I can turn the VPN off when I play my game and stream, just to make sure I have the bandwidth for the stream to go out, and no bottlenecking from that. I'll be fine with that, and I'll just use my VPN when I do everything but my streaming on my game. Okay. So I was like, oh, let me check my laptop one more time. VPN off, 5 gigahertz wireless in, 147, 182. Both numbers lower than they were before, but that's what the app installed. So that's what the laptop pulled. That's how it is. That's how it was. That's how it's going to be. Dinga danga dung dung boom. Done. That's the end. That's all I got to say about that. NordVPN appears to be a huge bottleneck. Very minimal loss on the wireless end, which is why I'm hoping that with the dual band AC adapters that I've got in my motherboard for my new build, that I can break 150 megabit at least, if not 200 megabit. Yes, I have an AC router from Verizon, I think. I don't know. Actually, it may not be. But hopefully with the performance level of that adapter, that even if I'm not on AC and I'm stuck on N, that I can get up to at least 150 megabit wireless and I won't have to run a cable. I'll still probably end up running a cable, but it will be less of an urgent issue. So, because this machine, I will probably just go put in the other room where the router is. No, I can't move the router. When they installed it, they only ran the cable. They had to wire the house. They only ran the cable to one place for me to connect it because it was very easy for them to do. And I told them I wasn't planning on rearranging. And it's been there for 2 years. So never had another cable run. Yes, I could do it myself, but it's too hot outside for me to go into the crawl space, and the crawl space opening is literally the size of my monitor. I'm not that skinny, and I don't feel like ripping a hunk of flesh off to climb underneath the house to run a cable so my wife won't yell about there being a cable on the floor. I'm perfectly happy with the cable on the floor I've got right now. I will unplug it and then run it back out there when I need it, because I'm not going to need it when my wife is here. So I'm happy with that solution for now. Done deal. Conversation over. All right. So let me get this stuff off. Go. Poof. Make myself bigger again. That's my special effects, the cheap version. Like I said, not a super huge sports fan, not really big on football, but the Panthers are playing the Cowboys on Sunday tomorrow. Soon is tomorrow, actually, an hour and 20 minutes from now is tomorrow. And they're going to win. I hope they win. So now I'm going to take the camera down, and so it's going to be jerky and all kinds of fun stuff you won't like. So I can show you a few things. Really, maybe I'll put another light bulb in first. Anyway, let's do our non-advertiser product placement for the day. And this is going to take a few minutes because I got a background story. Sorry, it's not just a product placement thing. Ooh, hang on. Let me minimize some things to get a little less reflectiveness. Reflectiveness? Sure, why not? There. Blah-blah. Just all. Dandruff relief. treatment shampoo. Treats and controls dandruff. No parabens. Petrolatum? Okay, petrolatum. I thought it was petroleum, but hey, it's petrolatum. No artificial colors or phthalates. Hey, this stuff is the shiznit. All right, active ingredients, which is what makes it work so well. Let me rotate that. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There we go. Maybe. I'm crooked. Sulfur and salicylic acid, 2% each. Yes, 2% each. Now, this stuff right here. All right. See, I have a small dandruff problem, not a really big one. But I have, and I forgot to look this up so I can tell you the right thing. I think it's dermatitis. Pretty sure that's what it is. Dermatitis has the same kind of symptoms like dandruff. You get flakes. It doesn't necessarily happen where your head is. It's a skin condition, and it's irritated by the hair follicles pushing through the skin and then moving. And that causes it to puff up, turn red. You can sometimes see it on my lip in the video. Right there. This is hard to do. So it gets pretty bad right there for me. And occasionally right over here, a little red. You might be able to see it again. I apologize for the video quality. Apparently in Windows 10, camera that I have that I spent a good bit of money on that I need to replace with a camera that costs probably more instead of less for future proofing. I'll get a 4K camera. But anyway, the camera that I bought in Windows 10 won't go into HD. I'm stuck at 640 by 480. I realize that if you're viewing this full screen, it's grainy as snot. I'm viewing it at, it looks like to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 by 800 by 400. It doesn't quite look like 600. Maybe it's like maybe I'm running like 1200 by 800. That might be the view that I'm looking at on my other monitor. No, that would be almost the whole monitor. That's got a low res screen. I may actually be looking at 640 by 480. I don't know. Anyway, it's fairly large over there and it looks pretty crappy. Needs some anti-aliasing help. It's blurry. It keeps focusing. So it worked a lot better when it was in 720p because I used to do some YouTube recording for my channel before I actually put anything onto my channel. I was trying to do some video editing and stuff, and I was going to do vlogs, and I'm getting sidetracked again. Anyway, dermatitis, if that's the right one. It could be the wrong term. Like I said, I forgot to look it up before the stream so I could make sure I said the right thing. Causes skin to basically flake off based off of irritation levels. Dandruff is a different thing. I have. I hope it's dermatitis. I'm gonna Google it. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna click the images button. Oh, mama. Yeah, don't do that. It's eczema and dermatitis and dandruff all combined. I've got them all. Don't Google search dermatitis and then click images unless you have a strong stomach. Right? It's basically it's got the redness stuff in it, showing all that. It's not showing the flaking thing, but what if I do? Hair? Scalp. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's it. All right. So that's the right thing. Seborrheic dermatitis. Seborrheic? Yeah. Yep, that's it. Symptoms may range from dry flakes like dandruff. Yep, there we go. All right. Now, I first learned about this, believe it or not, after my first daughter was born, because babies have it. It's if you've had a baby or if you know somebody with a baby, been close to a baby, really, I'm talking like infant baby, like little teeny, tiny. Sorry, hands. They were down off the camera view. Little babies, they get it's like this yellow scalp crap. I don't know. I don't remember what the right term is because the entire time for both my kids, we called it skin crap or something like that, me and my wife. So I don't even have a hope of remembering what the actual name is. Cradle crap. That's what we called it. That might have been really loud. Sorry. Anyway, so that's when I learned about what it actually is. I knew a few people with really bad seborrheic dermatitis in college, and they had it all over their elbows, their wrists, anywhere there was flexing of the skin, where you know how it wrinkles up when you twist and bend, and your elbow and your knees, and they had it all over those spots, and it was really bad and kind of bad, really, really bad looking too. Um, I just have a little bit here. It's controlled most easily through cortisone. Cortisone cream's fantastic. I put a little bit across here. It looks like I've been doing something that I shouldn't, and definitely not on video ever or pictures. And I let it sit, even if I only let it sit for 5 minutes and then rub it off. It takes about 10 minutes and it fades as it absorbs into your skin. And so it's not that bad, but it's still there and you have to wipe it off anyway before, and it's because on my lip. I have to wipe it off before I eat and stuff like that if I put it on. But it heals that right up and gets rid of the red irritation and makes it look normal again. A lot of times I don't shave, and you might notice on the streams, and that's because shaving irritates it. Brushing your hair irritates it, which is why I shave my head. I don't have to brush this, so it doesn't irritate my scalp, and it helps a ton with it. I thought I had dandruff for over 30 years of my life. Okay, is that right? Right around 30. We'll go with like 28 years of my life. And I tried every single dandruff treatment that possible known to man, everything I could find. The only thing that came close to working was Selsun Blue. And all that did was decrease the amount that I had. It was so bad that in school, when I got bored, which I got bored a lot, partially that was ADD, and partially it was because they taught things in a way that made me feel smarter. I could understand more complex explanations than what they gave in school because school teaching is set for the median level of intelligence and the median learning level of students nationally. Some school districts increase that or decrease that based off of their own populations in the area. But for the most part, teaching is based on the lowest common denominator student. So I would get very bored in school because part of having attention deficit issues, your brain works a lot faster, and that's why you get bored. Is a lot of times is because your brain's done dealing with the input that it's receiving on something and it's looking for something else to do because it's still running at that high speed. So I would get bored in school and I would sit here and just rub my head and it would fall off like snow. Like before I found Jason's Dandruff Relief shampoo, I would rub my head like that for my kids and they would run around screaming, "Daddy's making it snow." And I wouldn't let them like play with it or anything like that, or stick their hand out where it was, but they loved it. And I would do it for fun. But anyway, in school I would get bored, even in high school, middle school. And I was there going, rub my head, watch the stuff fall. And it would be on my desk, and I would push it together into little mounds. It was like snow drifts. That's how much of the stuff came out of my head. And it was bad. And I was actively using different types of dandruff treatments and things like that, trying to control it. Didn't work. It's because it wasn't really dandruff. Now, seborrheic dermatitis, if you look it up and you research it and you read about the stuff, in parentheses under symptoms, it says dandruff, but it's not. Dandruff is small flakes. They're the little things. They're, a couple of cells maybe. Seborrheic dermatitis gives you big freaking flakes of skin off your head. Like, I'm talking like the size of my pinky nail. I got a pretty big pinky nail. That's pretty friggin' big. Actually, you know what? I have a tape measure here. Within arm's reach. I'm going to measure my pinky nail on camera here for you. All right. See that? Okay, it's upside down. We're going to start that way, that way. I'm looking in the camera view, so sorry if I'm moving things the wrong direction. I'm not a good mirror person. All right, we're almost, what is that like? More than a quarter of a centimeter wide. You can count the millimeters there if you want to do it in metric. All right, and I bump it right up to the 2 there. Look at that, half an inch long. All right, half an inch by a quarter of an inch. We'll just call it that. Flakes off my head. It's huge. I'm not talking like I get one of those. I'm, I could get quite a few, but you're going like this, it breaks them up, so you don't really see it. But it's on more controlled kind of a scratch, and I would get huge chunks of skin off, and that's what really led me to thinking that it wasn't dandruff. So anyway, I found this on Amazon one day. Yes, I order pretty much everything from Amazon now. Used to be Newegg, now it's Amazon, and I use this stuff, and it's got a lot of sulfur in it. Sulfur stinks. Sulfur is what you smell when you smell rotted eggs. And that's why people call the smell of sulfur the smell of rotted eggs. People smell like, smells like rotted eggs in here. And when you use that stuff, if you have seborrheic dermatitis in your hair, people will walk by you or come talk to you at work or something, and they go, "What's that smell?" Literally, like standing 5 feet away from me, people would smell it and make comments about it. It was strong enough for them 5 feet away. It was a strong smell. Now the thing is, as your skin heals, if you don't scratch, which it did help control the scratching, I think the salicylic acid was good for that, and some of the other crap that's in it. It's got a pretty long list of stuff. Um, as it healed, the sulfur would interact less with my skin, and there would be less off gassing of the sulfur smell. And so, I'm thinking, I think that camera view is kind of zoomed. Maybe if I can find a way to unzoom it, the quality might be better. I'm actually going to mess with that while I'm talking. So sorry if I'm distracted. It's that, attention deficit crap again. So, the more my skin healed from me not scratching it, which was completely off of the fact that the chemicals in that were working. All right, it says no zoom. Never mind. Is the less it would smell. It got to the point, I would use it every day for the first 2 weeks, and I went to like an everyday wash with it, and then mostly every day. I also went. Yes, I did go to a dermatologist, and his solution was worse. He told me to wash my hair if I had to with something like a bar of ivory soap, and just rub it lightly on my head. Don't push into the scalp. Don't brush my hair. Don't comb my hair. Don't grow it long. Don't wear hats. Literally, his opinion was of how to control the problem that I had, which he knew exactly what. As soon as I walked in the door, he saw it on my lip, and he's like, "Oh, I know exactly what you're here for," and told me. So he knew what he was talking about, but I don't think he knows what he's talking about, because his idea was there's nothing I can do. I'm just gonna have to deal with it, and the best thing I can do is ignore it and don't touch it. So that wasn't cool with me. And anyway, this is the longest freaking product placement ever, and I'm not even getting paid for this. Okay? Good shit. It works. I meant to say that. I did it on purpose. After about 2 weeks, the smell went away, and it kept working. Now, I went on vacation. I went to my in-laws' house, and they have really high sulfur water there. And I forgot to bring the shampoo with me. And I was there for 2 weeks. And when I got back home, all the benefits of using that shampoo stopped. Everything went back to exactly what it was. It was itching a lot. In fact, I have it here. I literally bought like a saddle brush and was scratching my head with it because it itched so much. Here it is. All right. I bought this sucker on Amazon to scratch my head with, thinking that maybe I could rub it all off. It was so bad. Oh, I have one of those case fans still in the box. There's that Vortex fan. Boom. Look at that sucker. 1200 RPMs at 17.7 decibels, and it pushes out 60.4 CFM. That sucker's a beast. And it's what's that term? Hang on, I've got it written right here. It is a nearly excellent static pressure fan. I intend on using it in my new build. Going back to my product placement, I swear I am almost done. I know I run on and on and on. Anyway, stuff stopped working. I was mad. I stopped using it and just dealt with my head again for 2.5 years. Finally, I'm like, nothing works. Let me try this stuff again. I bought it again. It started working again. I'm like, oh my God. And then it didn't work. And then it didn't. And then it didn't. It was on and off. I'm like, well, why is it not doing what it used to? I don't friggin' know. Great product. I've moved on to something different. That one's empty. I'm not buying it again. What I'm using now is going to be a future non-sponsored product placement, but it's a shampoo and conditioner that has cortisone in it, which heals the skin, prevents the itching and the flaking, and doesn't stink. Good stuff. We'll get to that some other day. So, to my case. Let's see what happens here. Wrapped around my microphone. All right, so the audio may get a little crummy because my mic is. Well, hang on. No, I put the mic cable on top of it. There we go. All right, I moved the mic cable. Hope you enjoyed the ceiling. This is my case. It's my Thermaltake. There's the Patriot wireless. Isn't that the Patriot? Is it the Panda? That's the Panda. Oh, it's a PAU05. Good stuff here. Anyway, that's the Thermaltake case. I was going to get another ceiling fan. Mail-in rebate for the motherboard from Newegg. So anyway, here's the case. I was going to get another ceiling fan. Really? I was going to get a little light for the ceiling fan. Anyway, you can see from over here, the panel is off. Well, maybe you can't see. Not quite that left. But see, there's what I was saying, the power supply looking at me every day. Upside down, EVGA 720. That's the cable mess I was talking about. You can see how it all hangs out. I've never been able to get it back on there. There's one of those Cougar fans up on the top. Yes, I'm holding it on with zip ties. There was originally a 140 millimeter fan up there. I had problems with it clicking. I couldn't figure out if it was because the blades were hitting the top or hitting inside underneath. Eventually, I got tired of it and just took it out. Take this off. I did not pre-clean this, so if it looks messy to you, really dusty to you, oh well, that's how it is. Back up. Let me get better focus. So, I warned you about it being jerky. Here's the inside of my case. You can see the thread rippers up here at the top. All right, this is that monster cooler. Alrighty, let me put some extra light on the subject. Of course, stupid cell phone would pick now to require my password instead of using any form of biometrics to unlock it. Let's see, flashlight. Boom. Aha. Wait, camera. There you go. Yeah, so you can see those G skills in there. A ginormous case. Yes, that's another zip tie. I've been trying to control rattling noises. There's another Cougar fan in the back. But I've been trying to control some rattling noises in here in this case, and I thought that maybe that was loose. So I zip tied it. It actually didn't make any difference, but I didn't feel like taking it apart. You can see my Sapphire card in there. Get on the angle, you might be able to read it. Oh well. Better webcam, and we wouldn't be having these problems. So then down there at the bottom, it's a sound blaster. It's very bright, which is silly because, well, it's upside down. If it was right side up, it would light the case up really pretty. Tons and tons of cableage. Yes, that's a stack of drives. See them all the way down to the bottom there. My M2's hiding in here somewhere. To be honest, I think it's way up. If I can angle the light. There it is. You can see that 950 Evo Pro underneath my Sapphire. Boom. Oh, I might be a lot louder. I'm a lot closer to the mic right now. Sorry about that. I do talk loudly sometimes. So that's what I'm working with. The extra light on the front of the case. You can see, I believe that it's a Cougar fan in the front still. Another one. I did migrate them into this case apparently. Oh, can I get the camera over farther? Now that I have extra light. There we go.
Oh, for anybody that has the Corsair keyboard or knows about the problems with it, you can see my lights. All the dark lights are not intentional. They're actually dead. Background change. All right. What do we have here? Oh. Lay it down. There is the 399 Tai Chi, the 970 Evo. And the Thermaltake Suppressor F31 case. I need to take that out of the box. So I am going to put the camera back. Again, sorry for the wibbly wobbly and stuff. This is an actual desktop webcam. It is not a streaming cam or a specialty camera or a Canon or anything like that. And as you saw from my build sheet earlier, it's kind of old. Come on. Back in there. Ah. Okay, let's go a little lower. Well, I don't know if I can get lower actually. Unmove it. I'm using a Mobi. I think that's what they're called. To hold it and keep it from falling. We go there. Oh, there's my Java Revos and my Bubba Cup. It's made a few appearances on this stream. All right, a little bit lower. Move the chair out. Oh, move the chair this way. There we go. See if I can get the mic closer. Oopsie. Just drop the component. Sorry if the mic's making noises while I move it. Oh. Turn and face the other way, please. Right there. There we go. I'm happy with that. That's the microphone. You can see the camera now. All right. No, I don't have my table set up, so I have no workbench. And yes, this is an absolutely nightmarish thing to put computer components on, which is why I'm not going to open the motherboard or the M2 drive while we're sitting over here. Ow. You may have seen while I was moving the camera around that over that way, that way, there's a bunch of Star Wars figures. They're actually for sale. That's why they're not like displayed. They're just kind of sitting there. No whammies, no whammies. Oh, that thing is huge. I was really hoping most of that was styrofoam. The original intent was that this case was supposed to be smaller than the one that I have. It is not even close to being smaller. That's going to be a bit of a bother. Holy cow patties. This guy's a beast. I don't think I have to worry about my water cooler not fitting. Oh my god. Wow. So I have the tape measure here for a reason, because I forgot where I put it. There we go. We are just a hair past 20 inches from end to end here. If you include the distance the screws are hanging out the back, it takes us almost all the way up to 21 inches. 18 and a half. So our width is 10, 2018 10. My current case is the same. Right? Yeah. No. This one is, sorry, 18 by 18 by 8. And the new one is 20 by 18 by 10. So I definitely did not successfully make a smaller case, which is a bad thing, because I don't know if you noticed in my parts list for this build, I'm not putting any hard drives in there. I'm not putting a DVD drive in there. It's going to be the motherboard, an M2, a future M2, processor with liquid cooling, and the GPU. This case is overkill. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I like the design. Oh, and it's a magnetic removable filter. What in the friggin' nature? Apparently it's got removable compartments for each fan. They're screwed in, 4 screws each on the top here. The sucker is heavy. I will pick it up and show you that after. Yeah, after I remove the glass. We have a swing door here with a filter for easy removability, I guess, or cleanability, because it doesn't seem to be removable. And then to access the front. Let me get some extra light on that again. Come on. No, don't rotate. Why are you rotated? Oh my god. My phone wants to play a game. Literally. There we go. Hopefully that shows it a little bit better. So, 2 openings available here. This is plastic, unfortunately. Woo! Removable front. It's another one of them static pressure fans. Cheating. Which static pressure fans, the blades are more this way. Non-static pressure fans, the blades would be more like this, flat facing. This is actually really, I like this case, sort of. I can see why it was so cheap, and if it cost more, I would have been pissed upon receiving it. So I got what I paid for, and I'm either going to have to deal with that or return it. It did come from Amazon, so I could return it, but like I said, this is solid, so the airflow comes through ventilation on the side here, or when it's open, it would have full airflow. There is a chance, actually it's very well hinged, and it does not look like I can easily remove the door. I'm going to say there's a chance I might just take the cover off the front, but it doesn't look that way. I'm going to turn the light off for a moment. Let's lay this sucker down. Oh, and get the glass open. 2 screws, pretty standard. Nothing special for removing it. Slightly tinted, you can see. Does still have the covering on inside and outside. The covering plastic is perfectly clear though, so that is the actual tint on the glass. I will pick the camera up, I guess. Again, I'm concerned about the case, and I don't know what I'm going to do about it. It's friggin' huge! Looks nice belt covers for the filters on each of the top exhaust vents. I'm going to move closer to the camera. So, let's take this back down. far as we're going to get. Here's the inside. And I do intend on doing a live stream, I think, when I actually do the build. If I use this, you'll get to see it all again if you watch. So, trays for the drives, which I'll be removing the entire enclosure. And I'm going to remove the top ones. There's no, are you kidding me? All right. This is not a device I am familiar with. I don't know if I can remove this. This is just the locking pins. That's a strange method I haven't seen before. So they actually do insert from the side here. Right, there we go. Sorry about the bad camera angle placement. I do not have enough hands to hold the light for my phone. I'll hold my phone for the light while I'm doing this. There is placement for a second. Trying to adjust the camera angle, sorry. Oh, let's tilt it. There we go. I'm limited by the length of the cable for the camera. So anyway, the fan that we saw from the outside is back here, behind this plate for the hard drives, which by the way, it's only 3. Good thing I'm not using hard drives. So there's a space here for a second fan. The one that's in there looks to be possibly a 140, not a 120. Cooler I bought is 360. This definitely has room for 3 140s. Gosh, this is a huge case. And then we're moving this top rack here. What are those? 5 1/4 inch, I guess, for DVD drive or such. Removing that would actually give me room, but not mounting. I think I could get a 360 in there. I'm going to rotate you. Hope you don't mind. So I could probably fit a 360 cooler on the front pretty easily. Taking out that 140 that's up there. It definitely has plenty of slots for attaching things. I could even probably put a 240 in the front, maybe. Maybe be limited to 220. Unfortunately, the tape measure that I have doesn't have metric on it. And the only other thing I have that has metric is not something I want to use or have handy. So, God, this thing is huge. I don't know. That's going to affect airflow because it has room on the bottom for bottom too. Holy cow! Oh, I need another light bulb. You know what? They're not that far away. I'm going to set you staring at something and then go get it. There. I'm actually not leaving the room. The light bulbs are right here next to me in the closet. I think. Pretty sure I put them in the closet. Is that it? Did I find it? No. That's not it. Where are my light bulbs? Stanby, you idiot. What did I do with them? Oh, put them in this big green bin sitting here next to us. They've been here the whole time. Alright, let me find a light bulb. Quit thinking. Ooh, that's a big one. It's old. Oh, it smells like sulfur. Sorry. Let's see. Alright, let's just see what happens if I put this in here. Again, there I go. I'm very horrible at accents. Sorry. Don't mean to offend anybody. Ooh, that's bright. Just for fun, I'm going to put a third one in the fan. Yes, I normally run one light in my ceiling fan. I may be out of fluorescent bulbs, but I got a pile of incandescents. You are a 60 watt incandescent. You will have to do. Go gadget lighting. You actually do very little. Apparently those 2 fluorescents are 100 watt replacement bulbs. Anyway, Oh, look, you can see the case now, and that didn't take very long at all. Okay, so rotate that way. All right, skip, no, that way. Oh, there we go. Do this again. We have 5.25-inch CD-ROM drive type slots, 2 hard drive, 3.5-inch, 3 with slide out mounting trays, which is actually really friggin' cool. Ginormous freaking fan, space for a second one. Theoretically, if I once I remove these and those, I could put a 360 in the front easily. There's heatsink spaces up front. So that fan is currently in a pull configuration for the heatsink. If I were to put the heatsink in there to pull the air through it. Looks like there's some stuffages. Oh, cable for something. Must be fan cabling. It's like a 3 to 4 pin adapter, maybe, or an extender. 3-pin extender. Okay. Like I said, I apologize again for the camera motion and stuff. I don't have a head mount or anything else. You can go over to Patreon and find me there, EEWTA, and donate monthly. Even $1 helps. And then I will put it towards something like a new camera, or a GoPro, or a head mount for a camera. Everything that ever gets donated goes into a special bank account that I have set up that is only for the channel and will only be used for things to better it, regardless of the amount. So, we have some anti-vibration pads here on this fan. I don't know why. Oh, they're on both sides, but none are on this fan. No, that's weird. We got rubber padding on the rear end case fan. You can see them from this side. It's the blue. Again, that looks like a 140. And these are the vertical mount slots for the GPU. These are the remaining slots, which I probably will not use a single one of with this build, which is also why I'm concerned about the size of the case. Again, we have, that is the bottom. So we have room for a radiator on the bottom. Decent height legs. Those are good, more than 1 inch off. Padded on the bottom so they don't scratch on a, say if I put it on a wooden surface. Bottom removable filter means that I will never be able to get to it. And a vertical GPU rack, I guess. It's a shelf. There we go. They'll hold the GPU up so it doesn't sag. I mean, I bought this case for a reason. I just didn't realize it was so large. And it apparently only has one glass. It's only tempered on one side, which would probably explain the cost, or the not cost. So lots of cable management, pass-throughs. Not that there's going to be a whole lot of cabling to pass through. Let's see. Large thumb screws are here on the horizontal slots, which I, again, do not intend on using for anything. I'm not sure if I'm going to migrate my Sound Blaster Z from my current system to here. It's given me a lot of headaches, a lot of problems with audio that I can blame entirely on it. And all the motherboards these days have good enough audio to do pretty much anything, even low-end studio work. I know because I've actually done some CD production for a DJ friend of mine using onboard audio. And the system that I used was not bought for the purpose of doing that, but the quality it produced, it was capable of producing better quality than the stuff that he was recording with his DJ equipment. So I wouldn't be really concerned about using a Sound Blaster. These feel to be the tips of screws coming through from the other side to attach the plates together. This thing is huge. Oh, so much room to put a water tank in here. Or 3. I might have to just keep this sucker with the intent of putting a custom water loop in here if I ever get enough followers to pay for it. Because that's not coming out of my pocket. Sorry. But I would definitely do it. It must be 11:20. Alexa just turned off one of my lights. Hold on, we'll tell Alexa to turn it back on. The primary light in this room, the only light that was in here before, is a Samsung Smart LED and is controlled by timings on it. Not really Alexa's fault, it's more the script, but Alexa, turn the fan light on.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so we're back here. We're in the case. I don't even know what to say. I'm still shocked by the size. I could literally fit the entire motherboard still in the box inside here. See there. The entire motherboard box fits into that opening with room to spare. I'm trying. Now we got too much light. How about that for somebody? I mean, look, seriously, there's room at the top, the bottom. I'm in the corner on this side, sorry. So it's tight in the corner here. It has about an inch of space, still room there just for fitting the opening, and the internal area is wider than the opening to get into it. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's got to be 3.5 inches at that end of the box. I'm at the extent of my reach with my cable here. There we go. That's about as good as I can get. Lots of room. I can just put the whole box in there. To be honest with you, the CPU, which goes on the motherboard, the CPU cooler, which is going on the motherboard, the radiator, which I am probably top mounting here, and then eventually the GPU there. Until I get the GeForce card I'm putting in, I'm going to normally slot the Radeon card that I have, not the horizontal, and an M2 drive, and that's the only thing I'm putting in this case. The power supply at the bottom. The whole case is going to be empty. It's a darn good thing that I got an RGB radiator, that the motherboard has an RGB LED, because otherwise it would be pretty bland looking. I don't think I want to put the Sound Blaster card in here because my intent is to do everything in black, grays, and whites as necessary, and then do bright green LEDs themed by my desktop here. God, it's so bright it's washing out the monitor even. Oh, there we go. I just found a bunch of images today. It's literally the last thing I did before I started streaming. Okay, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me stare at my case and drool over it more. I don't have any tools set up to do this because I wasn't planning on doing this today, so I'm not going to go and start yanking pieces out, although I probably just need a screwdriver of the case. This thing back into place. There. And you can see the top of the monitor now. Too low. There we go. Twist a little to the right. These little Moby things are awesome. Sometimes it takes a while, but you can pretty much adjust it to do anything you need it to. Is it level? Yeah, it looks pretty level this time. Oh, so Grandia 2, great game. Love the shirt. Oh no, you can almost see what I'm doing from there. Wait, that way. X399, ASRock, Tai Chi. Crooked. That way. Aha. Got it. Some good reflections. I'm just so excited. That's what the board looks like. I'm trying to get the reflectionless part. That's my shadow. So I should be able to go with green. I believe it's not a lot, but I think it's like 256 colors. Oh, hang on there. It's got a display case. And it's got 2 RGB LED headers in there that I didn't even know about. So you can see the inside here. Ooh, shiny. It's primarily silver, a bunch of black, a little bit of gray. They are steel PCIe ports. It does have dual gigabit LAN. It's an 8-layer PCB. It's supposed to improve the DDR4 performance. 7.1 channel ALC 1220 audio, Realtek. 120 decibel sound to noise ratio. That's kind of crazy. 11 phase power. Supports 4-way SLI. So maybe I will go with 1080 Ti's, and if I need more performance, just throw an extra one in the case. Because why not? Prices are going down still, anyway. All right, I'm gonna cut the video. I'm still drooling over this thing. Yeah, I'll save removing the components from the inside of the case, the 2 chassis, and dealing with the fans until a later video. I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do with the cooling. Since I want to do liquid cooling on the GPU, I'm actually contemplating not putting any case fans in. Like I said, I've got a 360 for the CPU cooler, and if I can find a 280 cooler for a GeForce card, I may do that and put that on the front. And then if I get a second GPU later, I can always put like a 360 on the bottom. And not actually use any other fans. So what I would probably do then is I will remove this case fan here, this 240. Possibly put it up here for now. So I'd have the 2 in the front pulling to get the air into the case. And then the 360 cooler for the CPU on the top. And I'll do a push. Yeah, I'll have to do a push exit. I'd like to do a push pull, but because of the way the filtering on the top is just a magnetic strip that sits here, if I did a pull, that means the fans would be external to the casing here. And even though that's the top, and I don't put things on top of my computer usually at all, that the only thing on my computer right now is that Panda adapter, and I literally just unplugged it before I started the video. So I don't really put stuff on top of the case. I do like this case. I just wish it was smaller. So I'm not going to do a push-pull and put the cooling fans up on the top. I can't do it. Yeah, not happening. Now, depending on clearance, I might be able to do a push-pull internally. Oh, that's weird. It seems to fit right in there, but it does not look like the magnetic filter top here is actually cut to fit. It's very roughly happens to fit right into the indented area where it goes on. It's not something I'm going to be able to show on this camera because this camera sucks. But you can kind of see even from here. I'm looking at the screen, so I can sort of tell that it's got rounded corners. The bottom one may show up a little bit better. It looks like on the stream. It's not a stream, but in the recording. And then if you look at this, the corners are squared. They just happen to sort of fit, though. It's a little weird. Anyway, if I remember correctly, the 360 RGB Thermaltake flow rings have a 30 millimeter radiator. Looking at the case, based off of where the mount brackets are for the motherboard, and just looking at the picture on the back of the motherboard of where the screw holes line up on there, it does not look like I actually have any clearance. I mean, yeah. Check. So the best I can tell, I'm going to have less than about 1.25 inches clearance for the 360 30 millimeter thick radiator and the cooling fans. Of course, that will be here tomorrow, so we may do a video tomorrow of me trying to get that in there just to see how it fits with the motherboard. I may not be able to put that on the top. There's room for cooling fans and there's room for a radiator, but I don't think there's enough thickness there for me to do cooling fans and a radiator. Okay, looks like I can get an extra maybe 5 or 6 millimeters. There, when I first opened the box, I said that it looked like there was a cover on top there that had to be unscrewed, and there is indeed, and it's maybe half the thickness of a pinky, my pinky anyway. So I figure my pinky's probably about 8 to 12. My pinky's curved. I never noticed that. Yeah, see it? Look at that. The tip curves back over. You can see it. A little weird. Anyway, but I do have straight thumbs. Boom! Look at that. Oh yeah. Look at that. Doesn't bend backwards at all. Sort of. Anyway. If I remove those plastic covers from there, it'll give me another 6 to 8 millimeters, which brings me up to about 1.5 inches of clearance total. Yes, I know I'm using metric and imperial back and forth like I have a clue what I'm talking about. And that should... Oh, those are sound dampening pads. Yes. The entire case has sound dampening stuff that probably would reduce set noise by 0.5 decibel because of all the open spaces around them. Anyway, if I remove those sound dampening pads and the plastic cover that blocks the airflow, from the top, I put the 360 cooler in for the CPU. That'll give me about 1.5 inches of clearance to put the 360 in. I might not put it on the top. I mean, I'm going to do top exhaust. I'm definitely doing top exhaust, but I may not put the CPU cooler on top. I mean, those will easily hold 140s. It's got to be. Where's that 120 fan? Let me open this Vortex fan. Because it's a 120. You can get it in there. See how much space I have. Oh yeah, those are 140s. Yep. The 2 fans that came with are 140s. The spaces on the top are for 140s. And the spaces on the bottom... Yeah, there's a second set of... Yeah, there's room. So 120s or 140s will fit in all 3 positions. So what I might do then is actually get a really good exhaust on the top. Oh wait, no, because you want it the other way around. You want the positive, right, airflow? So I want more coming in than what I'm forcing out. And there's less stress on the output, and then all that other shit happens. Air goes out through the cracks instead of getting sucked in. Maybe with these large feet and the extra clearance, no room with the power supply. I was thinking I could put the 360 on the bottom, but that's not happening. Because the power supply is going to cover half that up. I'm only going to have room for 280 on the bottom. The 360 should definitely fit in the front. So if I do the CPU cooler in the front, I watched quite a few videos where people had put their CPU water cooling radiators in the front instead of putting them on the top, and it increases case fan temperatures by as much as 12 or 14 degrees Celsius. So I'm not really sure I want that in the front, but if I put that in the front and I put the 140s that are already in here, both of them on the top, give me 280 on the top, 360 in the front, and no other case fans, I think that'll give me good airflow. Now I'm also going to look into getting a, let me rotate this, maybe that lighting's good enough. Getting a magnetic cover to put over these back slots covers. Since I'm not going to put any horizontal cards in, oh crap, I am putting one in. So these are replaceable, the ones that are here now. They're just loose panels. So I'll take two out now to use my, or I could just horizontal mount it now. Well, I have to order a cable still. I haven't ordered the cable yet for the PCIe bridge to do the vertical mount. I wanted to see what the distance was that I needed. I didn't want to get an extra large one. It looks like the shelf for the vertical mount of the GPU, I'm going to take a wild guess here, has a slot right there. I'll put my hand behind to see how you can see my hand through the middle. That slot there is for the cable to come out on the tray. That's pretty handy. Let me put it down. Yeah, that's the way it goes on there. It will come out. I might go ahead and order the cable tomorrow after the cooler comes in. I'll get the motherboard. I'll do a video. I'll get the motherboard in here, get the case fans rearranged, and the drive trays out. I haven't even looked on the backside. It may have SSD trays on the backside. Get my GPU in here vertical. How am I going to stream that? I guess I can slap OBS on my laptop since it's already on it. I think it's on my Linux partition on there. I normally run it on Linux, but occasionally I have to go into Windows for some stuff, so it has both installed on my laptop. But I'm pretty sure I put OBS on the Linux side. I can fire that up. We'll just use the webcam that's built into the laptop, and I'll plug the other cam in, the one I'm using now. Yeah, that'd be good. So then I'll have dual cams at different angles, so I won't have to move the camera around quite so much. And I'll do the build video. That'll work. Yep. All right. I'm gonna stick this out, then get some sleep. If the package shows up early enough, I will try to do the video tomorrow. If the package doesn't, it's definitely crooked. Camera. If the package doesn't show up until later, I'm going to have to do the build video next weekend. Maybe. I won't have time on Monday or Tuesday to do a full build. And I'll be missing the power supply still, so I may or may not be putting the motherboard in poo. Looks like we're waiting until next weekend. That's going to be frustrating as hell. I might make it a multi-parter. I'll do a live stream while I gank some stuff out of the case and get the cooler in and do a couple of other things. Then I can do another video when the power supply comes in, and we'll get that in there. Yeah, and the processor, and we'll get the liquid cooler set up and do everything. But yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, and I'm probably not gonna edit it because I normally don't. We'll be right about 3 hours here, and I'll get this thrown up on YouTube and see if I can get it uploaded to Twitch. I've had issues getting pre-recorded videos on Twitch for some odd reason, although nobody else on the planet seems to. But we'll see what happens with this one. Hopefully, I can get them both up, and I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching any part of this that you happen to see. I know I drag on and ramble a lot, but that's just me. Have a good weekend. Hope everybody's doing well whenever you watch this. I doubt anybody's going to watch it anytime soon. So, I'm done rambling. Talk to you later. Again, thanks for showing up if you did, even if you only watched 5 minutes of it. Because of the length of this, I may put timestamps in the description, at least on YouTube. All right? Thank you.